everybody, it's your girl, PJamma, with PJammaLyfe. And we're here today to talk about some really fun movie and TV shows. So let's say hi. Let's start off with David, the guru of all things Star Wars. Say hey to the people.
Hello to the people. Hope all of you great tailgaters out there have had a wonderful day so far. We're glad to talk to you about a dragon's tail, among other things, tonight. So sit back and get ready for some fun conversation.
Hey, and there's our superstar comics and Marvel guy, Pat. Say hey to all the people.
Hey everybody. I'm thinking you might want to update your intro to me because I'd say I'm much more of a Tolkien guy than a Marvel guy.
Oh boy.
But I'll take the Marvel stuff too. That's good too.
How about the librarian, the official librarian of all things Tolkien? Patrick.
And that was an underrated show, The Librarian. But I know
It was.
Okay. So it's finally here on streaming. We get to see it in all of its glory. Thor, Love and Thunder. Let's take a peek.
Odinson. He gave up his search for love, accepting that he was only good for one thing. Waiting in quiet contemplation for someone to save.
Who's the piss off now?
Hey, is that the Necro Sword? That's cool. I've only ever read about it in stories.
And you know this is going to...
Today is a day that will go down in history. Today is a day that we'll talk about for generations to come. Today, we are space fighters. Listen, we good? Yeah? Sorry we've been fighting lately.
Well, let's let our guru of all things Marvel start us off with kind of, is there any backstory to this?
Well, I mean, there's some backstory and some forestory. I mean, obviously, they kind of hinted how Jane Foster becomes Thor. So she inherits the powers of Thor and is able to do Thor stuff while he's out doing other things, which is cool. And that's pretty close to how it goes. And the cancer diagnosis and the cancer fight and all that sort of stuff is also pretty canon.
Okay.
Yeah. She
Okay.
that's one of the things that was kind of going on there. Afterwards, she becomes a Valkyrie, which they kind of hint at in the after credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some wiggle room to maybe bring her back in. The Natalie Portman character. Overall, I mean, the movie was good, but it felt like it was trying too hard to be Thor Ragnarok, which was so incredibly fun and fresh. This felt like it had a lot of that same kind of. It was like trying too hard a little bit.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, I loved it, and I did love. And okay, if you don't want spoilers, you should probably mute.
Well, we already spoiled this. So.
Well, the end credit scene when they have the actor from Ted Lasso as Hercules.
Yeah.
So perfect. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, that's the one. That's the guy. And because Hercules is a very angry superhero. And for him to be the guy that plays Roy Kent in Ted Lasso, perfect. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. I mean, it was a little it was kind of ridiculous parts of it, and like I said, I think it was just trying too hard to be Thor Ragnarok again. So it was good though. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I'd say an 8 out of 10. Not bad.
Trash. Did not enjoy this as much as I wanted to. I thought it was just, you're right, they were trying too hard. And I think what made it not as great as Ragnarok is that Ragnarok had a single line story. And you could follow it from start to this had too many stories going on. They should have just picked like him and Jane or him trying to save the kids, or him with this gore guy. I mean, it was like too much, and they didn't connect them well enough in this one. I really thought this is one of the worst.
No.
It's not the Dark World worst.
I was gonna say that's
Yeah, that's the absolute worst. But it's definitely not, for me, it wasn't great. And for Taika, and y'all know I love me some Taika Waititi. I watch all of his stuff. I mean, the crazy shows in the South Pacific and New Zealand where he's from. I watch all of his movies, everything. But this one, I just couldn't love it. And I watched it twice. So I wanted to make sure I felt the same way. And it was too long, too. And then it had the Disney. I mean, it was like, oh, little kids, we gotta save little kids. Ah. And I was like, okay, this too much. So it's a for me. David, what did you think?
Let's see if we can, as we so often hear, kind of sandwich in good reviews and bad reviews together. Let's see if we can do that. Thor, Love, and Thunder. Give me a shovel for this blunder. I absolutely hated this movie. I really did. I think there was some merits in some strains of it, but I was lost at this attempt at humor early. I'm not a huge Thor fan. I think his were some of the weaker films. He seemed dumber than ever, and I don't from my perspective. And I gotta say, if you want, if you want to elevate or promote female characters to look great and strong and wise, you don't have to make the men look like complete idiots for parts of the film to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot I can say to criticism of it. The kids in Asgard, we have viewers from all over the world, but this was that town. It was like Galactica 1980 meets Pigeon Forge. If you've ever been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Pigeon Forge meets Galactica 1980 with these kids in this galactic Viking boat that can fly through space. This stuff, it kills me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just couldn't. It was great to see Natalie Portman again. I think, Chris Hemsworth is wonderful actor. But man, I just hated this film.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Pat.
I mean, and in the defense of the depiction of Thor as an idiot, mythologically, Thor was an idiot. You read all the actual books about, or the actual myths of Thor. Thor was pretty brain dead.
Okay. I'm glad we're historically accurate.
I mean, really, and so I mean, they always smarted him up for the comics and stuff. Making him into Dr. Blake, whatever his name was. I can't remember, Robert Blake or whatever his name was. He was a doctor when he originally found Thor back in the 60s, found the hammer and all that sort of stuff. Which they wrote into him being imprisoned by his father for being a butthole, There's a lot of it wasn't. And
Pat, come on, just accept it. It wasn't great.
Like I said in my part of the review, it felt like they were just trying too hard.
Yeah.
I think all the storylines were fine, and I didn't think it was too spread out over everything. But I just thought they were trying too hard to hit the humor notes to try to make it obviously
Disney
a sequel to Ragnarok, and kind of take what everybody loved about Ragnarok was the humor and the funny parts, and they tried to make it even more funny, because you got to do better than the last one, and they just felt like it was trying too much.
Isn't it? If you're trying to make it funny, you might not want to bring cancer in as
well, but like I said, they're also trying to follow the books,
right? But it was just kind of like, whoa, cancer. What? I mean, what's this stuff? And didn't you already, that whole scene with her as a child in the hospital bed with her mom who was dying of cancer. That was straight out of Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was like, come on, now you borrowed from Guardians of the
That's a tough
Galaxy
one.
too?
That's a
Yeah,
tough
and
thing.
I was like, no. It's okay. Everything doesn't have to work. He's still amazing and great, and I'm still gonna watch everything that he does because he's a quirky, weird, interesting cat. So just a no on this. So I think 2 out of 3 of us say try it again. I don't know, but if you like it, it's on streaming, so you don't gotta pay $20 to see it. So so there you go. Okay. Up next is our Tolkien fans episode of Rings of Power. Let's take a peek.
For Adar. Now, dig!
You think you're special? You're just a child. I know I'm not special. I know I'm just one little Harfoot in a grand, wide world. But he is special. I can feel it.
One thing I am now certain. You are more than you claim. Come with me to Middle-earth. And together we will redeem both our bloodlines.
No. You're stuck on this island. You're still short an army.
That is all about to change.
Okay. Yeah, let's start with our Tolkien expert, Patrick.
Okay.
Okay, Pat's corner. Let's keep it brief.
I'll keep
You're
it brief.
on the clock.
There were some problems. I had problems with some parts of it. Like,
okay,
Elendil didn't have a daughter; he had 2 sons. That's it. It's actually in the book, so they decided to just throw another person. Sure, okay, whatever. Overall, there were some interesting things kind of going on there. I thought you got to see some of the Numenorians. You got to see the Queen and her minister Farazan, who I will tell you will be a big character if they stick to the books. He's the one who decides to break the band of the Valar and try to raise war against the gods, which doesn't work well. Historically, does not. The Galadriel and the Southern that went to Numenor was an interesting, a good side quest. And I liked where they were going with that. And they had some history stuff kind of showing in there. And they showed that Elendil was an elf friend. And, he's the one that's going to eventually found Gondor from the Lord of the Rings stuff. Isildur, the one that was the boy that was on the boat. He's the one that cuts the ring from Sauron's hand in the Great Battle, the last battle between elves and men. So I mean, they're kind of building some things into there. Like I said, the daughter, where the hell did that come from? He's got another son that they talked about briefly, but they didn't see a Norian. So I mean, there's some interesting. The Harfoot thing, who knows where that's going? I mean, that's just apparently hobbits are from Ireland. I kind of noticed that that all the hobbits must be from Ireland. They're all got an Irish brogue. They're gonna go push the wagon. I'm like, so. That story, that's fine. It's an a little bit interesting storyline. I don't know where they're going with the elf storyline. The Rondir, the elf that was part of the work gang, and they brought him up to the big baddie, and you kind of see him just coming up the tunnel. The Adem, I think his name was called, or something like that.
Adar.
It was the title of the episode, actually.
Yeah.
I believe he's probably, if I were to make a guess at this early stage, he's probably going to be one of the 9. The ring race eventually when Sauron or in Celebrimbor forges the 9 rings. I suspect because he's a big bad guy, he's part of Sauron's crew, as it were. So we'll see where that kind of goes. Because he looked human. He didn't look orc-like.
Right.
Well, there's a lot
I
of
thought he looked kind of elvish or something. I was like, oh,
he
that'd
won't be.
interesting.
Well, if they make him into an elf, then it'll be so unbelievably non-canonical. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I'm going to give it. It wasn't concrete yet. We'll see where it ends up at. So I'm kind of interested to see that. Overall, the episode was good. It kind of furthered the thing. I didn't have a lot of real big notes other than just Ellendale doesn't have a daughter. Where the hell did that come from? That was my biggest. I thought it was interesting to show them in the library that Elrose, who
yes, libraries.
Yeah,
which they said been here for like thousands of years, and and he's asking him, "Did you know Elrose?" And he goes, and Galadriel's like, "Yeah, I prefer his brother though, because his brother's Elrond, the one that was in the first episodes. That's his brother, their great. Put a few more greats in their grandfather." Because he chose to go with the men, whereas Elrond chose to go with the elves. So, I mean, there's some interesting stuff kind of going on there. So,
yeah,
I liked it. It was good. I mean, it's still beautiful looking. So, we'll see where it goes.
And being a kid of the library, growing up inside the libraries, that was really cool. So, David, what did you think?
It grew on me from the last time. I'm not steeped in the history of it, which makes it somewhat better for me, I think, than Pat, but also it's harder for me to understand what's going on. I can't say what's wrong with it, but it's still not.
I got that.
Yeah, you got that part covered, baby. You got that. I am liking it better than the first episodes that I saw. So I want to keep up with it, but it's not great for me. There's comparing and contrasting. We're going to talk about the next one in a little bit. I like the political intrigue more with the Game of Thrones characters and things than this. I never could get behind Sauron as the big villain, as this devil creature, and which is probably why I didn't enjoy the original, the 6th Peter Jackson films that were out there as much as some. I think it's Tolkien is an amazing world builder, but it's just hard for me to get behind some of that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it was a decent episode. It wasn't great, but it's definitely, I think, trying to build story. And I always enjoy looking at it because it is so beautiful. And the sets and costumes and all of that are amazing. And I'm especially enjoying the diversity of it. Once again, another character, the Black Elf, is getting tons of hate. And there was a cute picture by the original cast of the Lord of the Rings in t-shirts, all saying, to be accepting of, the new character. So very nice. But people just need to get over this kind of stuff. I mean, it's just being ridiculous. It's fantasy. It's out there. Everything is different. So there's no reason why a variety of different types of people wouldn't be in these worlds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the racist fantasy that there are no people of color, but that's not who's writing these stories. So you can go back to your whatever it is you like to read, but today in 2022 there's diversity in all types of science fiction and fantasy and all of that, so get over it. But for this show, I thought it was pretty good. I'm not much I did do today, which helped. I went back and watched the Fellowship of the of the Return of the King, and 4.5 hours later it made more sense. So definitely, if you're a little confused, go back, because a lot of the names you hear were in that story.
Yes, they are.
And the history, you see the centuries down the line, Isildur was the one who kept the ring, but Aragon is his descendant. and then redeems the family name. And then you saw in the scene in the clip where Galadriel is talking to the Halfhand, Hellbrand. I think it's Hellbrand.
Hellbrand.
Telling him we can both redeem our family lines, which is the same kind of thing that happened in Return of the King. So, yeah. Go back and kind of check those out, and I think it'll make some sense to you. But then just take it as it is, and just think of it as a new story, and then you'll enjoy it.
I would also like to give a shout out to the Southern guy that decided to just kick the hell out of those 5 or 6 dudes, decided to start something with him, and the breaking the arm was one of the more delightfully brutal moments I've seen in a lot of the movies. I was like, whoa, yeah, you ain't gonna walk away from that one, buddy. Yeah, that's gonna leave a mark.
That was some good special effects because that looked real, and I was that's great.
I did too. I was like, oh damn.
But he did tell him to leave him alone. He didn't want to.
He tried to run away one time. He gave him a couple chances, but like, okay, I guess we're gonna do this. Let's do this.
All right, that's on you.
And it looks like a movie throughout. It looks like, at least on TV, it looks like a movie. That's a neat experience.
They spent the money. They spent the money.
Yeah. $1 billion they got it to spend. So, it looks like it. Okay, so next, here she's back and doing magic. She-Hulk. Let's take a peek.
Who are you? Are you the Goblin King?
Did a cut-rate magician send you here?
Not exactly. He sent me to a dimension, and a talking goat helped me escape a lava pit in exchange for 6 drops of my blood. Oops.
I'm having an issue with a magician. Notice how I use the word magician in quotes?
I did,
It's because he's not an actual magician.
Donny Blaze!
Here is a cease and desist.
Cease and desist? What cease and desist? Fantastic.
Yeah, it's sticking out of your shirt.
No, it isn't.
All right, we will see you gentlemen in court.
Swipe right for a hot date.
Okay, we have got to get you some new clothes.
You know what? There's very limited selection of clothing that fits my body.
Clearly.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first. So, that was a silly episode, but why not? But a fun factoid: the African American man who was with the fake magician, he's actually 104 years young, and has been in the business for a while. And so I just thought that was neat that they put him in there. But you saw him kind of like sleeping or something like that. But it was an interesting, weird episode. And but it was fun. It's good to see Wong have more time and the silly girl who's
Madison.
With it. But you gotta know where the
why, but not where you think. Yeah, so hilarious.
I mean, she's adorable. People like that to me are adorable because they don't, who they out to hurt. They just, I like to have a good time. And, but it's interesting that the guy, I was like, well, why didn't you send him to the mirror dimension? I mean, it was just kind of like, what? Why are you all letting him run around? And where's the bad guy from the movies? Not bad guy, but the one who became a zealot.
Mordu.
Yeah. Where's he at? I would have thought he would have stopped this guy by now. So that was kind of, I was like,
That's a good point.
Yeah, and then with okay, so the funny, weird scene was when She-Hulk was with the dude and she picked him up to take him to the bedroom. And I was like, isn't that a little emasculating? I don't no. But then the next day when she showed up again, he was like, ugh, Jen, no, I gotta go. But I just thought I was like, he's fetishizing her. That's gross. So but it was funny. David, what did you think?
I find the show just so entertaining. I really enjoyed this one. This was a little bit more for some laughs. That scene that you're talking about where he's picked up, I mean, that was in the trailer early. So you knew this was coming with a Hulk physique and a Hulk metabolism. One has a Hulk libido. So for Disney, they shut the door and went to another, but it was, I enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. Don't like the fourth wall stuff, but I don't remember that being as bad this time. But it was a good episode. Just enjoyed it.
Yeah. Pat, what did you think?
I liked it a lot. Obviously, the Madison she stole every scene she was in. Just tell them you were texting 911. You can't get in trouble for that. Yes, you can.
So you can.
Well, the one thing that because I when I first watched it, I was like, what did they say that guy's name was? Because they kept Donnie Blaze.
Yeah,
well, you know what Ghost Rider's name is?
Yeah, Johnny Blaze.
And the fire things, I was like,
that's what I thought too.
They can't be right. They can't be right. So I really good, a lot of good little nods and winks to people, throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I really did enjoy it. I'm interested to see, and now they're kind of, because Titania is supposed to be the villain through this thing, and you haven't seen her except for that one little first scene in episode 1 for minutes. Well, you're going to start seeing her, I have a feeling, a lot bigger. And if you haven't seen, there's a mid-season trailer out for She-Hulk where you see her getting to talk to Charlie Cox, or AKA Matt Murdock, AKA Daredevil. So that's coming up. So I can't wait for that, because we're going to get Daredevil into, because that was one of the best series outside of the...
Yeah, I agree.
The Marvel produced... Well, it was still Marvel produced, but it was the Netflix versions. I mean, they're on Disney Plus now. If you want a really good series to watch the Netflix produced Daredevil, and also Jessica Jones was super good too. You could probably skip Iron Fist, although I do love Iron Fist as a character.
First season of Iron Fist was good.
Well, I was say I like Iron Fist as a character, but they got kind of second season they jumped the shark totally. But Luke Cage was also pretty damn awesome. Yeah. So I mean, there's some good series in there from the Netflix produced stuff, but it's a little bit more adult themed, I would guess.
Oh yeah. God, yes.
And like you said, the whole they just kind of do the cutaway, and you fill in the blanks on what happened between Hero picking him up and going to the bedroom, you assume, and then the next morning, hey, here we are for breakfast. What happened then? They just had a nap. Disney, but Netflix was a little bit more. Yeah, they're gonna go do something a little bit more adulty than just take a nap. Maybe
you see every
but whatever. So I mean,
it
was really good. I thought it was good, and they're really hitting a good balance between humor and the thing is, Tatiana Maslany is such a great actress.
Yeah.
I mean, she sells and owns every bit of that thing every time. I mean, it's low key, and she knows when to step back, which is another impressive thing too. Whereas like the Madison character, she came in, boom, spotlights on her. She wasn't real good at dropping back and just being furniture when she needed to be. Whereas Tatiana Maslany understands the flow of the whole thing and does such a good job at being, like you talked about that point when he came out the next morning and he's like, and you can see she had that hurt look, but at the same time, she's like putting a brave face on. You could tell there was a couple layers there, and you could tell that was some really solid acting.
And it was really
that's a great
subtle.
Point.
It wasn't, over the top. It was really subtle little looks and gestures that let you know what was going on. That's just a mark of a great actress.
Well, yeah, I mean, if anybody out there watching has not watched Orphan Black, you probably should do, because she's onion layers, man. I'm telling you, when she plays one character playing another character who's playing another character, and you can see all 3 or 4 of those layers in there in that performance, man.
That is one of the best TV series.
It's really good
of all time.
Really is.
And now you know what you can call her: the twerking onion.
Yeah, the twerking onion.
The twerking onion, not the blooming onion. The twerking onion.
That ass. All right. So that was good. So definitely check out She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Hey, Tim Windsor, he's here.
Tim.
It's good to see him back. And our final is, I just hate that it comes on Sunday because we have to wait a week to talk about it. But this week, baby, Second Sons kicking butt in House of the Dragon. Take a peek.
Seats of dissent are sown amongst the rank and file. Damon has driven the men hard. They have begun to question his command.
Blood or no, Vaymond, I will not have you stoke mutiny.
Have your banner men questioned my choice?
There has been nothing of the sort, Your Grace.
I did not decide to name Rhaenyra my heir on a whim. All the lords of the kingdom would do well to remember that.
No. Uh-oh. Look, are we having some technical difficulties?
I can hear you. See you.
Okay. Well, David, why don't you talk about what you thought about House of the Dragon?
Well, another exciting episode. I don't know how I feel about it moving ahead so far in time, where we've had not one, but two babies born, or one baby's born and one's on the way.
Really on the way.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but why waste time with filler? So
yeah,
I think that's good. Doctor Who kicking butt there in that scene.
Yeah,
that
man.
was incredible,
Oh
powerful. With that, he didn't want to wait for his brother could get any credit, so he just did it himself. I love the compare and contrast between the king and his daughter, as and we see the brutality of the old world that we've all come from. Killing that sweet animal for just helpless, and that ain't sport, for the love of goodness. That was terrible. And yet she killed a boar because she had to, and just was all into it. She wasn't squeamish about it. And it really shows for both of these rivals, the uncle, the king's brother, her uncle, and the heir, they're both pretty worthy of a crown. They can, she's we're liking her, but they're both worthy of it. Really excellent. We saw Lannister, surprise, surprise, jerk. Don't like the Lannister. Stark seems to have like a little run through them that they're kind of noble, decent people.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Man, that crab guy, I thought we'd be seeing more of him longer. Intense.
Well, you saw a lot of him.
We did see a lot of him. He was every which way. Little loosey and little loose, little gross. A really well done episode, though. Continuing to enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think, and how it was going. And then by the time we got to the Valerians, back again, fine ass Valerians. And but did you notice that Matt Smith didn't utter a word the entire
You didn't say a word. I was going to bring that
episode.
Yeah.
And that was really cool that that was the decision that the actor made to just do it all with his actions and not have any words, any dialogue in it. So that was super cool. And Rhaenyra, I really like that the king was trying to drop some knowledge on Rhaenyra and tell her, look, this is what you need to do. He was trying to be a little heavy-handed, but then he was like, look, I'm trying to help you. You got to be able to shore up your line if you want to be the ruler. You got to have children right away. And so, hopefully she gets on board with that. I mean, that's just any kind of monarchy, as we're seeing live right now. What's going on? So definitely this was a great episode. And next week, the King of the Narrow Sea, they already got the title out. We're gonna see more of Damon, so get ready. And Pat, what did you think?
You hit on several of the points I want to talk about. Matt Smith, not saying a word, but he owned every scene he was in. And apparently, a skill that got lost over the years, because I saw that Riken Stark couldn't figure out how to serpentine run to avoid arrows being shot at him.
You finally!
But Matt Smith figured it out. He says, like, watch this. I'm going to dodge. You can't tell where I'll be shooting. You got to shoot an arrow. It's going to take a second or two to get to me. You don't know where I'm going.
Exactly.
So, I was impressed with that. And the fact that's what leaders do. They go out and lead. And that's what he did. So he's definitely polishing his credentials as a leader. The other thing that I thought was significant that you guys didn't really talk about was Rhaenyra is seeing the white stag.
Yes.
The mark of
classic
the white stag being the mark of kingship or divine providence to rule or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's some definite heavy-handed foreshadowing going on there about her claim to the throne, because her dad is out looking for this thing and they can't find it, so they just pick this other other good enough stag, and they'll just stab it in the heart with this Lannister spear. But she's like out there doing it. She's like, no, I don't need to kill it. Let's just let it go do its thing. Which could also be a foreshadowing for her not wanting to be the king or be the ruler or something. I don't know. I think from reading the Fire and Blood, I think was the Targaryen book. I think I know where it's going, but I don't want to spoil it for everybody. So
okay, thank you. Because the people who read the books when the series was on did a great job in not spoiling it. When it was based on his books. No one knew about the Red Wedding unless you read the book.
I remember watching that.
You read the book.
Dude, I was waiting for that. I'm like, and then I watched Twitter and Facebook lose their collective minds, and I'm like, yep, saw that shit coming. I was like, oh damn, that's really cool for what they're showing.
But
that's almost like what I imagined.
Yeah, people were cool about not spoiling it beforehand.
Right. I didn't say anything. I want to watch everybody go crazy.
Appreciate that about the fans, because they could have easily, ruined pretty much most of the series by doing stuff like that, but they didn't. So I'm glad people are, if you read Fire and Blood, aren't, jumping ahead and saying, well, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. Because we know with these people, they might not happen. So the way they ruined the series, but that's a whole nother discussion. But Pat, so what'd you think? Thumbs up?
Oh yeah, I like that. I'm interested to see where it's going. They're doing just like what Rings of Power is doing. They're building worlds. They're building characters. There's going to be a lot of narrative building before they can get things sort of. The narratives are all moving forward. I was also, like David, a little bit put off by the 2-year jump. That was kind of abrupt, I felt. When we just
you're going to get more of that too, because these characters will age. You're going to get them as adults. Like, they're going to move them even further down the road in a few more episodes.
That's going to be challenging. I think it's a little polarizing for the audience.
It depends how they do it. It depends too. But yeah, this has been great. It's been great to watch so far. They may not have $1 billion in their budget like Rings of Power, but the story is tighter, I think. And so we'll see. But yeah, that wraps it up for us this week. I think Thor, Love and Thunder, the whole family can watch. Also the other series, She-Hulk, there's some kind of adult things, but pretty much anybody can watch that. And what's the other one?
Rings of Power.
The Rings of Power. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit gory. Little kids
violent.
probably might be scared of the orcs or, some of those kind of stuff. But overall, it's okay. It's probably PG. But, and then House of the Dragon, I don't know if it's teenagers and up, really. So, but definitely check out all of these today. And if you like us, hit that subscribe button, bing, 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 and subscribe. And so this week we also learned about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. So I have my shirt, I have my tea cup from Harrods and my Jubilee celebration tea, and wish everyone in the UK peace, and our sympathies are with you. And I guess Charles held out long enough. And Camilla played the long game with it. So side piece is now Queen.
I kind of wonder if her
she's a model for all the side pieces of the world. Can aspire to a crown.
I just keep one thing at the coronation when she walks in, they're going to play Jamie Foxx's Gold Digger.
Well, I don't know if she's a gold digger.
Oh, come on.
But she ain't dressing with no broke ones.
I'm saying.
She got the richest one.
She got the brass ring, maybe the golden ring. I don't know.
So, David, what you got to say to send us out for the evening?
Well, one thing, it was on the Disney that we didn't talk about yet, but we're going to be watching the show in a couple of weeks. A 9-minute little intro to Andor. There's actually a little scene there from the show.
Okay.
You're talking to Diego Luna as well as the director. It's really neat to see. Part of me didn't want to see like a segment of it, but if it's going to be on, I'm watching it. So check that out, everybody.
Okay.
And certainly,
you know what, David? We'll do a trailer reaction.
Well, there's also a trailer out for Mandalorian season 3.
And say that again, Pat.
There's a trailer out for Mandalorian season 3 just dropped today.
Let's do that. We'll do 2 trailer reaction videos. Okay. And we'll post those up on our website. So you can go in and check those out as well. Pat, what you got to say goodnight to the people?
Just read the books. That's what I got to say to everybody. That's my motto. The thing is, every one of these series that we talk about started out as a written work, and they're always better. Always. Yeah. Read the books.
And you know what? That's our mantra. That's why we created PJammaLyfe, to talk about movie and TV adaptations of books. So definitely, where can you get them? Your public library. So go check it out. Have a good time. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
So long, everybody.
Bye.